I did my midterm project on the famous figure Leonardo da Vinci, simply because I wanted to learn more about him as a person and how his different paintings affected others as well, not just himself, but others. It all started when he was born on the 15th of April in the year 1452 in Vinci, Italy. And the cool part about it is that the city of Italy um, is the same name as his last name, which I thought was pretty cool. He is famous for painting the Mona Lisa, which today still stands as one of the most famous paintings ever to be made, and is in most likely in every single museum around the world. He was like a painter, like I said, and he also sculpted many different things, and he also invented stuff as well, as many people didn't really know that. Um, he is also well known as the Renaissance man during his famous works that he did during the Renaissance and how people viewed him as a person and also as an artist. He uh, he also influenced other artists based on his own painting creations and how it related to him and how he wanted it to be viewed by others of the public. But the bad thing was he died on May 2nd, 1519 in the city of Amboise, France. Some interesting facts about him. He still has 15 of his own paintings still today, which is pretty remarkable due to the fact that no other artist has even half of those paintings still today. Um, Most of his paintings were famous when he was alive, and some famous artists today, besides him, they didn't become famous until their paintings were famous. But by the time they became famous is when the artist died. Also, people still proclaim that he invented the bicycle, which is pretty amazing, even though he didn't really have any interest in his paintings for bicycles. I thought that was really cool to learn about. He thoughts were being used that he ended up using the scientific method on a subject that he was working on in his field of study. And now the biggest rival that Da Vinci had was Michelangelo, which to this day is arguably the greatest artist of all time. It could be either Da Vinci or Michelangelo, one, two, or vice versa. They ended up meeting each other once in history, and that was when they decided to have a showdown between each other to see who could paint the scene from the history of Florence on the walls of the council room. And you might be wondering who won. Well, there was not really a winner, since Michelangelo never really painted his art correctly, and that Da Vinci himself ended up ruining his painting as well. This painting this was a copy of Michelangelo's painting on the history of Florence. He ended up painting a battle between the Pisans and the Florentines, and how it was showing that some soldiers were patching themselves up and trying to fight each other at the same time. This painting or this picture itself was the final copy of Leonardo's history of Florence that he tried to paint. He also picked a famous battle for this competition. I don't really know what battle it is, but it was a famous battle to be foretold in history. Toward the end of his life, he ended up joining the court of Francis in 1516 to continue his work in anatomy and painting as well. He was asked by King Louis the 12th to come with him on a journey, and he didn't hesitate to follow him. He started working on his anatomy drawings and his other fields of work in 1512. He ended up becoming best friends with the brother of the Duke, which his name, if I could say it correctly, would be Giuliano de' Medici. And they became friends until he died. And then some say that Da Vinci suffered from serious health problems during the Renaissance, which affected him when he worked, and others might say that he suffered from health problems just because he lost one of his best friends that he was close with for years and years, and that, it was kind of a quote-unquote broken heart. But, no one really knows to this point. It's just opinions, but that's the lone fact, is that he suffered, some serious health problems during the Renaissance. And that is my presentation on Leonardo da Vinci, on how he became, or how I wanted to know him as a person, and how the game of life affected him based on his paintings, and also as himself.